Hey, what's going on? First off, Happy New Year's, everyone. 2021, we're here. New opportunity, fresh new start. Let's get into it. So just a little announcement. We did have an episode, Brian and I. It did get cut short a little bit, but you didn't miss much. There's only 9 minutes left of the episode. First, I want to say congratulations to Brian for graduating with his undergrad degree. And that's basically what we're talking about in the episode. And we also are going over the benefits of digital currency such as Bitcoin and Ethereum and how it can be applied into education and other fields on the internet and how digital currency is really going to revolutionize the world. So without further ado, let's get on to the episode. All right, let's get into it. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Prince Ayo.
And I'm Brian, as always.
Welcome back to NCAST. First and foremost, Brian here, graduated from college.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It took me 6 years, but I did it.
Grown man, doesn't matter how long you take it, just as long as you get to that finish line.
I changed my major, I want to say 5 times.
5 times?
Yeah, that's a lot. The average, I think, is like 2.5, so I doubled that. And I still graduated, so anybody can do it.
I think I changed mine like twice.
Yeah, so that's like average.
Twice
So like 2 or 3
times.
times is like what most people do. I'm pretty indecisive.
No, 3 times.
3 times?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm a pretty indecisive person. And plus, I didn't really have a clear goal of what I wanted to do when I first came to school. So, yeah, that kind of caused some problems down the line. But I was able to figure things out, and eventually I started doing something that I'm pretty happy with. So,
Well, believe it or not, a lot of people graduate from their undergrad and go into a field they're completely not doing with their undergrad. It's not uncommon at all.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Shoot, I might be one of those. But it was a nice experience. But as we progress through time, we go through changes, and I'm ready for that next big step in life. I'm ready to get a big boy job.
He's going into the real world. That's where he's going to, real world, where you got to figure it out yourself. Nobody's, giving you baby steps or showing you where to go. Like, you got to figure out yourself, have your own route.
Yeah. So far I've applied to 8 companies in the past, 3 days.
Okay.
I got a reply from one of them. They said no, but I'm going to keep going.
Hey, no doesn't mean no. It just means go a different direction, or no doesn't mean stop. So you just go a different direction.
Yeah, but overall, I'm feeling really optimistic, even though, COVID and, not the best time, to be looking for a job, not the best state of the economy has been in. But, like I said, still pretty optimistic. I'm excited, to start applying and start networking and hopefully find a really cool opportunity.
Exactly. Network is your net worth. So, anyways, that actually brings us to the next segment, which we're going to talk about today, which is digital education and cryptocurrency. And I brought Brian back onto the show because I actually wanted to talk to him about this, especially because after you graduated. Reason being, since we're going through this paradigm shift and also COVID, and it's hard for people to get jobs and stuff like that, I think it's very important to not only get a job and stuff like that, but this is also the time to invest in yourself. A lot of people, especially millennials, have heard about Bitcoin and investing and stuff like that, but what's the purpose of Bitcoin? What's the purpose of investing in yourself? What's the purpose of digital education?
Do you have the answers?
I do have the answers.
Okay, do tell.
I hate to start it off negative, but I'd rather end positively. So let's start off
All right,
negatively.
let's get the bad news out of the way.
Exactly.
Let's get the negativity, out of the way so we can cleanse ourselves.
Exactly. So people who are in school right now, obviously a lot of people feel like they didn't get their full education because doing Zoom classes, it's hard to stay focused. People could just put Photoshop pictures while their professors are teaching and then playing video games or doing whatever.
So, just to interject there, I wholeheartedly agree. I think something was definitely lost in that transition to online classes. So I've actually never been a fan of online classes. I took an online class, I think it was actually my very first semester of college. I took an online sociology class and I hated it. I feel like I didn't really learn anything. I feel like all we really did was just we just had assigned readings. We just read those things and then just wrote papers about what we read. And I feel like there wasn't really any meaningful, lecturing. There wasn't any meaningful discussion with my classmates.
It was like a read-through. Like, basically, they're telling you, okay, this is what we learned today, and read through this, and this is what you're going to do tomorrow or the next
and
week.
it's so simple, but it's just like, I
I
could literally do this myself.
Yeah.
I can do this myself. I don't need a university to kind of guide me through that, and it kind of sucks. And it also really sucked because because of COVID, forced all of us to kind of go into these online classes, because my field, my field of study, my courses are very, very, very heavy on discussion.
Right.
We have
Mass
a lot
communication, right?
media and communication.
Media communication.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
it's more concentrated.
Yeah. And normally we have like a lot of in-depth discussions, and they're actually really fun, really eye-opening. Especially hearing like what your classmates have to say, how you would come into a class, have everybody having read the same material, but people have like kind of different takes on it, and as long as you kind of provide that evidence behind your take and like explain your reasoning, nobody's right or wrong. Exactly. And it's just really just different perspectives. But with the switch to online classes, that whole kind of segment of those courses was just gone. Just completely gone. But they try to substitute it by having like these discussion boards and forcing people to kind of like reply to other people's like posts.
So like a college Reddit, pretty much.
Yeah, like a college Reddit that you're graded for. But it's just like, it's not the same, because it's just like you just kind of like post something that you would kind of like write on a paper, and then as for the like replies, it would just be something simple. It's like, yeah, I agree with this. I liked how you point out this, and that. It's like, yeah, I agree with this. I would just add this, and that. And I'm like, I mean, it's better than nothing, but it's just not the same. So it's not the same as like having an in-class discussion.
So my question is pretty much, do you feel like, because I guess your senior year, you basically had online classes because you basically spent it through COVID.
Yeah, my last 2 semesters at my school,
I mean, I finished grad school, my second half of my senior year through COVID, and I feel like, is it worth that much money to go to school when you can learn it for free online?
No, it's not.
So, like, how are you going to, like, bring down the cost for school but keep the value of the education?
That's tricky, because
you know what I'm saying, there's many ways to go at that topic, right? But you also want to, like you said, you felt like it was useless because you could have looked it up yourself, but you were less involved because it was like through a Zoom meeting or like anything online. So how are you going to keep people like engaged with what you're learning on the topic when you could just do it yourself? Like, I don't know, like, it doesn't make any sense.
In regards to these online classes, right? Or are you talking about just like college in general?
No, well, college, but also in regards to online classes, because that's where people are at right now.
So, non-online classes, like I was saying, like having that in-classroom feel, at least for my courses, I can't really speak for other sort of fields of studies, like some things that are more math-based or something other than, what I study. But at least speaking from my experience, those in-class experiences, were genuinely like enlightening, because you're just more engaged with the lecture. It's just easier.
Less distractions too.
Less distractions, yeah. And more opportunities to kind of like interject and ask like questions. Like, that's the thing, right? Like having like an online lecture, it's such a pain in the ass to ask questions because
they mute you.
Yeah, not even that, but like there's 2 ways. So either you can ask through chat, or you can like literally unmute your mic and then like interject. But there's both those options are pretty jank, because so for the chat part, right, there's a chance that your professor doesn't even look at the chat, or if they do, they look at it like once every like 10 minutes. So there's a chance.
Acknowledge it 'cause it's too late,
like, and then by the time like they look at your question, like it's already been like 10 minutes. You probably already forgot like what was the point of that question and stuff like that. So that sucks. And then interjecting via voice, like, it's not the same as like interjecting in a class, because like interjecting via voice is like you're kind of like talking over your professor, and like in a sense that you're like, Professor, I have a question, and it's just like it throws everything off. It throws the flow of the class off. Like, it's just not as natural as it would be in a live classroom. So like I said, like just the lecture experience is compromised. the discussion experience is compromised because it's just like, you can't really like just talk and like have like a open class discussion online like you can in person. So I would say like for classes like that are in class, like physically in class, like those are great experiences, and like at least from what I experienced. Now, like I said, but online just like when I was taking those classes, I'm like, oh my god, like school feels such a ripoff right now. Like I don't know, like even because this is what UMBC did. They charged full price for tuition, but we didn't pay any of like the extra like fees and stuff.
It's still BS.
Yeah, it's still BS.
You're paying for space that they're not even using.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what they're doing. And
like you're basically paying for the professor's salaries, and
which they're gonna cut if they continue this type of model.
Yeah,
which is gonna lead into the next segment, but I'll let you finish.
Yeah, it just felt like, oh my god, like this is such a ripoff. Like this is something I can legit do on my own. This is something that I have done on my own. Like for the past like 2 summers, I would just take time. I would like read like a couple books about something related to my field of study, and then I would like kind of take notes on it, or I would watch like a YouTube series and like take notes on it, and like I would learn so much just by doing that. And coming into these online classes, it's kind of like the same thing as what I was doing then, but just having like a strict schedule, and it's just like I'm like, what am I paying money for?
So I agree. Why are you paying all that money when you can learn yourself, when you have platforms like YouTube and Khan Academy, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just like, okay, they're going to cut professor salaries. They're going to cut teacher salaries because they're not going to use up all that space. I mean, people in my family work for the government, and they realized ever since COVID, they're like, we don't need all these office spaces. So it's not just
we talked about that before, right? Yeah. How like a lot of these businesses are going to start realizing like, oh, wait, we work just fine, just not having office space. It's like, but continue.
Yeah, like it's just overhead costs is unnecessary. All right, so we're going into the cryptocurrency aspect for incentive, right? For people to do it themselves. Hence why you're seeing a lot more entrepreneurs. You're seeing more freelancers. Hence why you see a lot more podcasts, because a lot of people are learning more on podcasts and like individuals' experiences and where they got to doing the podcast or their YouTube channel if you're looking at them.
Endcast, the most self-aware podcast on the network.
Hey, I like that plug-in. But yeah, that's why. And I think the thing about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and stuff like that, first off, what is cryptocurrency? It's a peer-to-peer transaction. The real focus is blockchain, which is like transparent ledger. Like it's immutable. Like once a transaction goes on that blockchain, it is there for life. It's there forever. And it gives power back to the people, right? We're in America, we're so used to living in a monopoly society, so working in corporations or working under like unions, you're dependent on them. But then COVID just realized, okay, that's just a traditional model that's not going to work in modern day society.
So when you say like independent from government influence, because you're specifically talking about how like cryptocurrency is not like subject to government regulation, like that's one of the big.
That's a threat. It's like, okay, so governments are actually trying to see how they're going to incorporate it, because they realize they can't really fight against it, because one, the people are really for it. I mean, I think it's banned in Russia right now, but there's so many hackers in Russia. I don't know if anybody knows, but Russia actually hacked like Microsoft and other companies here. So like they're really.
There's a lot of places that hack us. Like there's people in Russia, there's people in Korea.
Yeah, like, there's a lot going on. So it's like I don't know how long that ban's gonna uphold, but like we'll see. But like the cryptocurrency, reason why it's crypto is like because for encryption, right? Like you have a private key and a public key, and you can use your public key to send transactions. So
it's all encrypted.
Exactly.
Some people don't know encryption literally means it's like locked. Like this thing is like, you know how like that on like for like videos, right? They have like this sensor filter where like it literally like pixelates all like something. I saw like, that's basically
it was a sensor filter. Like it was funny, but yeah. Go ahead.
Like yeah, that's basically like what encryption is in a physical sense. It masks something to where like it's something you can't pick apart. Yeah. Yeah. A very complex lock.
Hieroglyphs, like say like you put a message through hieroglyphs, like encryption messaging. you had to decode it. Like that's basically what encryption
But
is.
imagine if that code is constantly changing.
Yes,
That's
constantly
encryption.
changing,
Yeah.
and you have a public key and a private key.
Mhm.
So like private key, obviously you pull into your own like wallet for like solidarity and keep it safe.
Mhm.
But
Oh wow! I didn't think we were getting back into my IS days.
I mean, it's important. It's important for like the education system in general because people need to know this. Like this is where we're going, and it's also like I said before. I don't want to keep sounding like a broken record, but it's giving power back to the people, right? So like, I feel like it's very important that people understand where cryptocurrency is going, how it can help, like with incentivizing education, because you can do it on your own at the end of the day, right?
So go in a bit more detail on this link between cryptocurrency and education, because specifically, okay,
yeah,
continue,
that's what I'm saying. Like it's giving incentive for people to actually start learning on their own. You have places like Brave, which is a web browser like Google Chrome, because you know Google likes to steal data, and so does Facebook. But you use Brave, they actually pay you money in cryptocurrency, and they block a lot of ads that can't acquire so much of your data. So if you go on safe sites and not like porn and stuff, you can actually earn money that way, right? So that's already incentivizing people to do their own research and use it for like actual purposeful reasons.
So like from what I understood, like reading up about Brave, is that they're trying to like kind of reimagine the whole like monetization system for like online web browsing.
Yes.
To make it less hostile and more.
It's,
I guess the theme here is giving the power back to the people.
Yeah, less invasive.
Yeah.
Because this is very, like, Google obviously has been sued, like, do no evil, and then they took that, like, mission statement or whatever. Was it a mission statement? Do no evil? Was that their mission statement or something like that a couple years ago? But they took it down.
Yeah.
But they took it down, and, like, obviously they're collecting a lot of data, so a lot of people are moving away from Google Chrome. And that's why a lot of hackers.
Honestly, the reason why I don't really like Google Chrome so much because Google Chrome is a memory hog.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of hackers are able to acquire so much information from Google Chrome. So it's just a whole big mess right now. But it's part of the paradigm shift. You got to go through the mess before you see the clear way. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like it was very important to talk about you graduating, what's next for the education system, and you freshly graduating, talking about the education system from your experience, undergrad, I mean, and undergrad, high school, and all that stuff, because you were actually doing like Zoom meeting. In my grad school, I was basically doing discussion boards and emails. It was totally different. I didn't have to do as much Zoom meetings unless I had to talk to my professor one-on-one. So that's why I wanted,
like you were talking to your professor regarding like your research and stuff like that.
Stuff like that. So it wasn't as like intense as like being in a classroom full of 15 people and the professor's talking to you and you got to talk in the group chat or talk on the mic unless he mutes you because he wants to have one mic. But yeah, and that's why I think that's a good part about cryptocurrency. Now here's like the bad part about cryptocurrency, which is the Silk Road, which I think is getting debunked more and more as like Bitcoin is going up and up. You know what I'm saying? It's already at $22,000.
Are you talking about like the perceived like, what's the word I'm looking for? When something is like frail.
Yeah.
Validity? Did I say that right?
Validity or
ooh.
What are you looking for?
English is not my strong suit.
You were a journalist.
Something.
You were a journalist for so many years.
I'm not a good speller.
Okay.
And because I'm not a good speller, sometimes I gotta get confused when it comes to like these derived versions of these root words. But the root word I'm talking about is volatile.
Why that is, right? Like a lot of psychological people, like, because you know how we're text messaging and they spell out the word for you.
Yeah.
But halfway through, that's actually like made us lazier in our mind to spell words through. I feel like a lot of people are not good spellers nowadays.
I mean, I can believe it. I mean, but I feel like my spelling handicap was like a thing even back in like elementary school.
Okay.
Like I was just never a good speller. But anywho, but yeah, like
let's just say it made it worse. If your text messaging they finished the word for you.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, like how like cryptocurrency is like volatile, basically, like something that it has potential to kind of like crumble.
So here's the thing, at least because the more popular cryptocurrency is Bitcoin, right? But it's not. You can't really use it for like transactional purposes right now. Like, yeah, there's certain platforms that allow you to, or allow you to convert to fiat currency, which is like U.S. dollars or yen or whatever like country you live in. they allow you to convert it into that currency. Right now, Bitcoin is used as like a storage of value, like
Like
gold.
just an investment,
Like
basically.
gold.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it. Like gold. Like it's
So
digital
that's
gold.
the thing that always confused me when I was first learning about Bitcoin, because like people were telling me it's like, yeah, this is like something that you use as like a universal currency, but then like everybody that I knew that was buying it was just buying it for like investment purposes. I was like, so wait, like where's the exchange part come in? Like that was kind of like confusing me. I was like, so people aren't like technically like using this, like people aren't spending.
I think that, and you're not wrong about that, because a lot of people have that misconception too. It's more so like a storage of value, right? Like how you invest in gold. Like, okay, the dollar's depreciating. All right, let's put it back into gold. Right, that was like the traditional way of doing it.
Yeah. So
like
that
some
makes
type of
sense.
value.
So
you're putting it into digital currency or digital asset, which is Bitcoin.
And I get where the volatile concerns are coming from, because going back to your example about gold, right? Gold is a physical resource.
Tangible. Yeah.
Like, it's tangible, I mean, yes. Like gold is something that we can hold.
Right.
Like it's here, like I have it. Like I can lock it up, like it's there, it's mine.
But do you use transaction with gold nowadays?
No, you don't.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
in
no,
terms
no.
of like that investment sort of aspect of Bitcoin, like, because Bitcoin, like, it's intangible, and I guess another kind of like con that people kind of throw out
The
there
internet can shut down any day or something like that.
that, and also the potential for hacking. Now, I think this largely depends on which sort of specific type of cryptocurrency you're investing in. I believe, because because Bitcoin's like obviously the biggest one.
There's
but
Ethereum, there's Litecoin.
Yeah.
There's,
and I
Dogecoin,
thought,
but that's not a real coin. Do not invest in Dogecoin. I'm just mentioning it. But there's other altcoins out there.
yeah, they call them altcoins. So like,
But for hacking, I hate to interject, but for hacking, just so we don't carry forward, the reason why a lot of people get hacked is because the way you like invest in Bitcoin, you go on certain exchange platforms like Coinbase, right? Coinbase, Robinhood, and you leave your cryptocurrency on that platform. And really, you need to like invest in like a offline wallet, such as a Ledger, which is a offline wallet.
for those that are just listening, and explain what you have in your hand.
So basically, it's a hardware wallet. You plug it into your computer once you acquire your cryptocurrency, and then you can put it offline. And this is basically what we're talking about before, a private key. You put it offline, you put it in here. There's Ledger, there's Tether, there's many offline wallets you can use. So that will help you with less occasions of getting hacked. There's just many ways to store your value of a cryptocurrency. You just don't want to leave it on exchange, because the exchange is actually what gets hacked. It's not really like the coin itself. Well, because the coin is there, it's just how you handle your cryptocurrency. Go ahead.
So you gotta have some wits about you when it comes to handling it. Like, it's not as
If you're technology inclined, but it's not that hard. It's just like there's older people who are not going to understand. There's younger people who are still trying to learn it. So I'm just trying to give a little like insight of how you can handle your cryptocurrency.
Interesting. So now that we've kind of like fully defined, the whole cryptocurrency thing, so kind of bring this back into like the root discussion here about like the link between cryptocurrency and digital
the reason
education.
why, like I already mentioned before, but the reason why it's connected is because it helps incentivize people to work. It helps incentivize people to want to learn more, because you're giving power back to the people and giving power to people to actually want to create like a platform where, okay, they can get paid for doing what they love instead of working for a monopolist company or like a major corporation with a big brand logo, and they're like feeding them.
So are you saying like the concept of cryptocurrency is what's causing this influence, or are you talking about cryptocurrency itself?
Break down that question a little bit more.
So you're saying that how this cryptocurrency is influencing people to want to learn more,
Yes.
right?
Learn more, and actually like. All right, so going back to Brave, you can do your own research and get paid for doing your own research, because they give money back to the people and less invasive with their data.
Mm-hmm.
Cryptocurrency is how you're going to get paid. Right now, cryptocurrency is just seen as play money until they have actual value towards it. So say you use Brave for YouTube, you can be on YouTube, look for different YouTube channels, and you're getting paid to look for that stuff. All right, that's more of an incentive.
You basically using cryptocurrency as an incentive for people to learn, like using like
one example.
payouts
It's
of
not,
cryptocurrency.
Yeah, this is one example for this segment of the show, but that's just one example. There's many reasons to get incentivized for cryptocurrency, right? For what you're doing. That's just one of many. I just brought it down to digital education and cryptocurrency just for the sake of this show. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm starting to understand now.
Yeah.
So you're saying this can also be applied to the classroom, right?
Yeah.
So like using like a cryptocurrency like payout for people in taking courses.
Yeah, I think so. I think we should incentivize people to want to learn more, to be honest, and incentivize teachers too. Teachers, because like teachers can. All right, so this one, I was listening to one podcast, and this one school teacher who's a digital mediator or digital media production, and he had his students like go out during like COVID and go to like the riots like in May and April and stuff like that for like COVID and the race war or whatever, and they told him to record himself because kids are starting to learn at like still at the traditional model, like, okay, you need to learn math, you need to learn English, you need to learn what other subjects are there? Social studies.
Science.
It's just like the basic stuff that's not applicable to like the real world or what they're really like interested in. So they're just really just following a model that really isn't like something they're interested in and not showing their own intelligence, because people are intelligent in a different way. You know, people are intelligent in music. There's people intelligent in science. There's people intelligent in just different aspects, right? But yet they don't know how they can get paid through that. Or instead of being paid, let's just keep with the word incentive. Be incentivized to keep working and perfecting their craft.
And you're saying like you want to see more schools kind of like provide that missing link?
If we still need schools. I'm still more of a big believer of a Flipboard model, which means it's like an A to B class session. Like you go to school for like Monday, Wednesday, and then Tuesday, Thursday, maybe even Friday, you do your projects and you either go work or you go do other things that you're more interested in. And then like the B model will go like Tuesday, Thursday, and then the rest of those days they go do stuff they're more interested in, or like work on skills that they feel like they'll be better in the future.
Interesting. So I think there's like a sort of different philosophy we have when it comes to the education system, specifically with grade school. So what I always interpreted grade school with, so when I mean grade school, I mean like K through 12, right? How like we've seen the complaint before. It's like what these kids are learning in the class, like how are they supposed to kind of relate this to the real world? And the way I always interpret it as the point of like the subjects that you learn in grade school, it's not that they're failing at relating it to the real world. It's just that the way I see it is that they're just giving you a toolbox.
Foundation.
Yeah, a foundation, and then you just kind of take that and you make it into something like that you can apply to the real world, like on your own. Like you yourself sort of, do that application.
You notice the real world's changing constantly, right?
Yeah.
Like constantly.
And that's why I think that system still fundamentally works, because leave it up to the student,
I'm not saying solely leave it up. That's why I mentioned the Flipboard model. Just to like interject what you're saying, like just leave it. I don't think you should just leave it up to the student. I think it should go up to maybe even 12th grade if they want to stay in the school system, choose to go to college or not. But have that Flipboard model, because you realize that you don't really need your kid to go to school every single day. The only reason why is because you're working. The only reason why, because it's just external circumstance why you need that person in school for every day. That's the only reason why I'm mentioning the Flipboard model. But that's at a certain age, maybe like past 13. Obviously, when they're younger than 13, maybe have them go every single day. But like past 13, They can choose to have
So you
like,
mean
different
like in the early days of grade school, like
Yeah.
like have a more condensed
Yeah.
sort of schedule, and then as the older they get, the more lax it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the only thing we have right now, at least in like the system that you and I grew up in, is that when you're like a senior in high school, you have the chance for like what they call a half-day schedule.
I had a half day schedule.
Yeah, so basically instead of taking 7 classes, you just take like 4, and then like after lunch, like you just leave and then like go, to like a job or like an internship or something like that. That's it, and that's only something that you have the options for when you're a senior in high school. So
My
literally,
internship was watching football.
Like I said, the episode did get cut short. You didn't miss much. If you want to follow me or Brian, here's our social media site. If you're listening, Brian's social media sites is at Brian Lives Life, and my social media sites is Prince Enigma. And you can follow up on us on either Twitter, Instagram, and that's about it. So until next time, take care and Happy New Year once again.